Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Telangana. Welcome to Hyderabad. For some of you who've come from outside Telangana and outside India, uh, uh, my name is PhaniSama. I'm the CIO of Government of Telangana. So you must be wondering, for especially people who are outside Telangana, you must be wondering, guys in the government folks in Telangana, when have they started wearing T-shirts to events? So this is the new state. We pride ourselves as the startup state, if you can see this, right? So, yeah. So Telangana is one of the youngest states in India. It is formed only 6 years ago. And when Telangana was formed with new energy and new zeal, a lot of new ideas also were born. And I'm here as one of the first CIOs of any government in India. There's probably only one other CIO in all the 30-odd governments, state governments, and the central government put together. So when I go out and say I'm the CIO, right, especially in Bombay, when I go and say I'm CIO, right, a lot of financial instrument guys like the banking folks, mutual fund folks, they all come up and say, oh, we want to exchange cards with you, we want to give you this and etc. and all that. I was wondering, in the initial few days, I used to wonder why are they coming and giving their cards to me, right? Then I realized actually that actually they were thinking I was the chief investment officer of the government. Then I had to tell them, no, I'm not relevant to you. I have no money. We can't invest. We are not a surplus government. Actually, we were a surplus government. Maybe we are still a surplus government. But so I had to tell that disclaimer. Then the next set of people used to come and say, maybe you should use ERP in your government. Maybe you should do digital acceleration, right? So things like that. Then again to them, I had to say, no, that is all old-fashioned. The information technology is all old-fashioned. The new fashion of a CIO, the new emerging CIO, is an innovation officer. And I think many of you are here not to take some technology into your organizations, but to figure out what are the new innovations that you can drive into your organizations and how can you leapfrog or keep pace with the society or the innovations that are disrupting life around us. So that's the new CIO, and that's the new government for you all. That's the new thinking that we no longer need maybe ERPs and etc., but we need a fundamental rethinking of all the things that we're doing. So what is my charter as a CIO of the government of Telangana? So my charter is twofold. The first one is, of course, how do we get innovation into governance, right? So amongst the various things that we did, one of the fascinating things is we all know the traffic lights, right? I mean, how the traffic lights run. Can anybody take a, yeah, sorry? How the traffic lights run? Timer, right? So traffic lights, how the traffic lights run in your country, sir? You're not from India, I guess, right? Sorry? Right? So they're also run on timer, right? I mean, it'll be on for 5 minutes, then off for 5 minutes, and it's calibrated depending on the traffic. If there's a lot of traffic, then it's on for 7 minutes and off for 7 minutes, right? But in Telangana and in Hyderabad, some of the traffic lights here are controlled by the traffic, right? We take Google Maps feed, and then see what's the live traffic right now. Should it be always 7 minutes, or should it be like 2 minutes, right? That changes dynamically and improves the quality of life here. So that's innovation, right? That's the new thing that we are getting into governance. So that is one part of what I do in the government. The other part of what I do in the government is the most exciting thing for me, Because this part of solutioning, figuring out new technologies and all that I have done. And I've done at my startup, I have done at my company where I worked at I worked at Texas Instruments before becoming an entrepreneur and all. But the other part of my role is how do we get, right, how do we make Telangana a land of innovators, right? I mean, right now, if you look at who are the people who are innovating, first set of people who are innovating are people like you all, right? MNCs, large companies, because you've all recognized the importance of innovation. You all have R&D budgets. You pride yourself showing to your shareholders the R&D budget that you have or the experiments that you're doing, right? And the second set of innovators are the startups, right? I mean, they don't have anything, they don't have money, the only thing they have is the ideas which will disrupt the large companies, right? So that's the second set of innovators. But Telangana wants the next set of innovators. The next set of innovators is the Aam Aadmi, right? Anybody and everybody out there, can they think of, can they identify themselves as an innovator, right? Can they figure out innovations in their daily life, right? And that is, again, a twofold impact. One is, of course, it impacts the economy. Imagine if everybody innovates, right? The innovations, what is innovation, right? I mean, innovation, for an entrepreneur like me, what is innovation? Innovation is a thing which lines up your customers in front of your gate, right? Tons and tons of them, they're just standing in front of your gate seeking your solution, right? If you don't have an innovation, you are lining up in front of your customer, right? Saying, buy my thing, buy my thing. Imagine, right? I mean, this is an iPhone, right? I mean, anywhere in the world, if somebody has to buy an Apple product, right? We all have to line in front of California, the Apple gates. I mean, if not literally, virtually, right? I mean, that's the only place where it is like designed, done, right? Anytime anybody buys anywhere, you have an Apple or you don't have an Apple. If you want to have an Apple, that's the place that you get in, right? That's the power of innovation. If you have something new, people will just line up. You don't seek customers. Customer seeks you, right? That drives, that drives the economy. Imagine if everybody in Telangana is an innovator in various aspects of life that they see, right? Everybody would come to Telangana, to Ramoji Film City, to buy the products that are created here. And I think in a small way, it's happening now, right? I mean, some of you have come from different countries, different states, different cities, here to understand what is happening, right? So that's the power of innovation, and that's why in Government of Telangana, we are driving innovation. But the second, but the second aspect of innovation is, again, very, very fascinating. The second aspect of innovation, which I'm getting to see very closely in my new role, in this role, is innovation is a big leveler of quality of life, right? What are the innovations doing to us? What is a Redbus doing? What is a Swiggy doing? What is a Uber, Ola doing to us, right? They're all improving the quality of our life, right? It is giving us a better quality life, faster, cheaper, etc. But while it is improving the quality of life for us, there are others who are not getting any benefit of that innovations. People who don't use Uber, people who don't use Swiggy, people who don't use Redbus, right? People who live in the villages, they have no impact of all these innovation. Innovation is just not touching them. Their quality of life is not improved, right? The way to improve their quality of life is, one way is take these innovators to the village, get them to empathize, like Ravi was mentioning, right? Get them to empathize with the problems there and get them to create solutions. That's a good idea. But a better idea is get the people there to think of innovation, get them to innovate, right? But the challenge here is we all think that innovation comes from people who have done PhD, people who have done at least engineering or some kind of an education, right? How can you get those people to innovate? How can they be innovators? Or is it just another fantasy of governments saying, oh, they can also innovate, everything can be done by everybody, right? So when we had this question, we went around Telangana. We said, let's go and identify if there are innovators there, right? We did village walks, right? You just walk in the village. The people there don't identify themselves as innovators. They don't know the word innovation, but still they're innovating, right? They have a unique weeder that they've figured out because they know how, they know the problem there. They use a carpenter or a blacksmith or in the village. They use the resources of the village and create a new way to weed their farms, right? We call that innovation. We go and tell them, you are an innovator. This is an innovation, right? We've done all that, right? We've run campaigns on TV to get people to send us their innovations. And we've found that there are hundreds and hundreds of such innovators in every state and district of our country and maybe in other countries. So what is needed is, and these innovators, they don't have any degrees. They don't even have high school. They have not even finished their high school, but they have a solutioning mindset. They can figure out solutions. When they see a problem, they go to figure out a solution. And some of those innovators have really impacted large masses of population. I mean, probably you know the movie Padman for people who are in India. How many of you know the movie Padman? Right? So, Mr. Arunachalam, right? What is his education? Right? Is not an English medium education, not a college degree, nothing. He went on to create that machine which needs mechanical engineering, not computer science, but electronics, electrical engineering to make that machine, which has gone to impact masses of population, right? So he's an inspiration, and such inspiring people are there in Telangana as well. People who have gone and created, people in Telangana were still using, how many of you watched this movie, Mallesham? Now there is a movie, yeah, right? I mean, the story of Mallesham Garu, right? He was just a weaver, right? Who went to only 6th grade, who finished only 6th grade schooling in his village in a Telugu medium school, right? But seeing his mom's plight of weaving through hand, he said he will go and figure out a solution, a better solution to that. And but to figure out a solution, he needed to know the concepts of mechanical engineering, electronics, electrical engineering, and all. So he's determined, bought those books, but those books were in English, right? So then he bought a dictionary which will translate word to word from that English to Telugu and Telugu to English. And that's how he learned engineering. And then using those skills, he went on to make this machine, which has now changed the lives of that whole community, right? Such inspiring innovators, we make a role model of them, we get them to talk, we showcase them to others. The others feel that when he could innovate, why can't I innovate? And that's how we are driving a movement of innovation and innovation-driven society in Telangana. So that's my current job. I'm very excited. I'm very hopeful of the change to come. And I look forward to Telangana and India being a land of innovators, right? So besides that, my previous job, the whole of my introduction was about my stint as an entrepreneur. So yes, I had this great opportunity to be an entrepreneur. I was an accidental entrepreneur. Actually, when we started out, we didn't know the word entrepreneurship. I went to BITS Pilani, electrical and electronics engineering. And then I was always, I always wanted to make things, right? I mean, during those times, I had this fascination to make a tape recorder and things like that. And when I passed out, I joined Texas Instruments. I was a ASIC chip designer. I had a great time there. And then some of you may know the story of Red Bus, so I happened to miss a bus. When I didn't get a bus, I was wondering, why didn't I get a bus? Then that thought process led me to figure out that I didn't get a bus ticket because the information about bus availability, the inventory, was not seamlessly available. When I go to an agent makes a phone call to the bus operator, And out of the 30 bus operators who are probably running a bus from A to B, he would call like 3-4 bus operators. And if he doesn't get a seat from those 3-4 operators, he would just tell a customer like me that there are no seats. But what a customer like me needed was that this agent actually scans the whole market of 30 operators to find out if there is or not any seat, right? So that problem led me to think of a solution which was web-based. So we set on to create this website where bus operators could put the number of buses they were running and the live inventory that they had, so that when I, as a customer, went to an agent would just look onto that website and then say which of the 30 operators had a seat, and maybe just call that operator to get me that seat. So that was the idea, but this was 2005, when there was no Android, when there was no iOS. Can I request for a water bottle? Yeah. YouTube had just then started. Facebook was just about to begin, right? And at that time, we had this idea. But we had a great ride. I mean, I think we were we caught the first wave of digitization in India. So we went and gave software to the bus operators to digitize their thing and then offered that to consumers to buy tickets. And today, and like my intro said, we also exited the company. Today, Redbus is present in 6 countries besides India. It's present in India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Peru, and it's now the world's largest bus ticketing company. Yeah. Sure. So another facet of what I do, which I was asked to speak about here, is the angel investments. So yes, I've had this, being an entrepreneur who's exited, had this opportunity to invest in startups. And I've seen startups come from that day one of this phase of digitization and etc., come from no internet, no mobile, no smartphone, right? Also pretty much no VC, to today a thriving startup ecosystem with large companies with multiple unicorns. The pace at which unicorns are growing, right? Very soon probably we'll have 1 unicorn every month. Right, a new unicorn born every month. So my first angel investment was in a company called Shield Square. And what Shield Square does is it is a big data based solution to arrest website crawlers, right? I mean, people come and crawl, steal your data, right? Figure out what price you are selling things at. So these guys, earlier, I mean, before these guys, the way it was IP-based, right? Oh, we all have done that, right? You get unwanted traffic from a particular IP. When you know it, you go and turn off that IP, right? You don't take traffic from that IP. But then the spammer comes with another IP, another IP, another IP. So you just keep fighting with them. So these guys came up with a technology. They said not just the IP, but there are other footprints or fingerprints that these guys leave, right? For example, one of the things is when a human being comes onto your site and looks at information, he or she probably goes in a particular pattern. They may they may take like 5 seconds to look at some information before going on to the second one. But a crawler doesn't do that, right? I mean, it just comes, right? I mean, it just takes that information in a second or a less than a microsecond and then goes to the next one and the next one. And there are very different way a bot behaves from a human being. So what these guys do is take those fingerprints and identify how, and then classify whether it's a bot or a human being based on the big data that they have. And it gets more intelligent with more customers. And then the next customer, there's a network effect. The next customer who comes in gets a benefit of all the previous customers and etc. and all that. So this was my first investment. And about a few years ago, it got again acquired by an Israeli-based company. So that's how things are changing. I mean, the tech which is built here is getting bought by an Israeli company just for the pure tech, right? And I've had a good fortune of investing in many such companies. A new wave that is coming out is that of B2B SaaS. Right? Increasingly, there are many SaaS unicorns. I mean, all of us know Freshdesk and Zoho, right? Which is now a multi-billion-dollar startup, which started just a few years ago. A startup which started like maybe 4 or 5 years ago is now $3.5 billion company. So India is changing, and I personally had the good fortune to see that change directly. I'm very, very excited to be part of all the things that are happening in India and in Telangana as the Chief Innovation Officer of Telangana. Welcome to the fascinating world of digital economy. Thank you very much.